Hello there, folks. You know that it's getting close to summertime and you can sit outside because we have had fantastic sunny days in Sundsvall the past days, and with that I can actually do a video from the balcony and hereby declare balcony season 2023 for open. Fantastic to be able to do that this time of year. And I will, as an opening video from the balcony this year, do another vinyl and CD update. It's not often I can do a vinyl and CD update less than a month after the previous ones. It was not even a month since I did the last one. And I actually managed to find some pretty good stack of new stuff. So let's start to show the new Bargoons, starting with singles, vinyl singles. Last summer, I think I showed this one. I bought this. This is a commercial paper record on a kind of a cupboard with Lily Berglund, Swedish Schlager singer, singing the song Jorden runt, around the world. But as you can see, it's not playable as it is. Someone hasn't treated it all that good, but it's fun to have nonetheless. Especially now when I managed to find the single itself on a regular 7-inch EP. So it was actually great to have this one to listen to and this one as a kind of a memorabilia, something like that. And we're continuing with another singer that I showed a couple of times before. She's crisscrossing between country and more singer-songwriter style. I prefer the later one. I don't know what this is, but I've never actually seen a single with this artist, so I bought it anyway. Anne Murray, What About Me, and Let Sunshine Have Its Day on Capitol. This one was a little special. This is Dr. Hook. You might ask what song it is. It's none, actually. Take a look at this. It is nothing on the B side. This is a kind of promotion single, bonus single that was released with Dr. Hook just doing kind of making jokes, having fun with each other, interviews and so on. So they released this one as a bonus, and really fun to have. As you can see, not for sale, it says, and you can also see here it's 33 RPM. So very fun, odd thing to have. Tommy Dorsey orchestra featuring Jimmy Dorsey, Tangerine. Not often you find stuff with Tom and Jimmy Dorsey together, as they had a very bitter feud. Those of you who have seen the movie The Fabulous Dorseys might know that these brothers were pretty much the Gallagher brothers from the 40s, 30s and 40s. Tangerine and Silk Stockings. Not related to this. And we have this jazz box release that I bought this Saturday, actually. The reason why I bought it was not to have anything against Johnny Dankworth, that I have literally no check on, and Louis Armstrong, I think is a little older Armstrong that I really wanted. John Hodges, always interesting, of course. But the main reason why I bought it was Paul Smith Trio T42. Paul Smith, you might ask, who is that? Well, he is the pianist that plays behind Ella Fitzgerald on this classical masterpiece, Ella in Berlin, Mac the Knife. They have fantastic chemistry here, and one of the reasons why this album is so fantastic good, other than Ella singing, of course. But I never seen Paul Smith in any tracks of his own. So this is, I really wanted to have a single with him by himself, or with his own recording. So, CDs, Sugar Cubes, the Icelandic group that Björk started in. This is actually the final album before Björk released her first solo album debut. This is Stick Around for Joy, that contains hit that was a pretty good hit for them. We have a compilation by the Thompson Twins, their greatest hits. We have another compilation by Katrina and the Waves, Walking on Sunshine, greatest hits of Katrina and the Waves, released in '97. Still, it's very interesting that it doesn't contain the Eurovision Song Contest winner Love Shine a Light. But this is a proof that Katrina and the Waves was a whole lot more than Walking on Sunshine. And Goldfrapp, a British, call them little late new wave-ish band, and surrounded around Alison Goldfrapp, that have been releasing great solo material recently. But this is from 2000, yes. This is Felt Mountain, released on Mute, that is actually Depeche Mode's former label. So, vinyl, full length, a whole deal. And we start with the Supremes. And I said before, I think the Supremes in the 70s without Diana Ross is very underrated. I almost prefer them before their worn out Motown stuff from the 60s. This is High Energy from 1976. And also released on, of course, Motown. We have something that I usually don't listen or buy stuff with, but when I saw this one for $1, I thought that maybe it's interesting. So I listened on YouTube on my phone at some quick peeks of this album. This sounded actually not so good, so bad actually. It sounded really good. I'm not going to say it's normally their bad group, but they normally isn't maybe in my radar. And I'm talking about Grateful Dead and their album In the Dark from 1987. I listened to this just today, and it is a really nice, relaxing, almost country AOR style, singer-songwriter style, with elements of blues, and it actually sounds really good. So this one will stay in a collection, and as you can see, it's not perfect shape, little water damage, but I felt for $1 when the vinyl itself is in great condition, I couldn't resist it. So it's actually really good. Will it be more Grateful Dead in the collection? I don't know. And we have a Swedish band that I don't know that much about. a band called Iceland. They're not from Iceland, they're from Sweden, from what I understand. But the members consisting of three brothers that has almost Icelandic names, Gislason, something like that. On the Rock, I heard the songs from this album in Swedish radio when I was younger, in a radio show, and I remember that, and I felt like, well, why not? I give it a chance. It's almost a blind buy because I couldn't find tracks from it on YouTube to give it some quick peeks either before I bought it. So this it's a little bit of a blind buy, but little I've heard actually when I listened to quick peeks after I bought it, it sounds like Swedish AOR, like Swedish Eagles. So it's going to be very, very interesting. We have Lou Rawls, Solon, and this is a very early Lou Rawls. We're talking Lou Rawls from 1966, when he still was a jazz singer. Arranged and conducted by H.B. Barnum, that I never heard of. But Quick Peek says that it sounded pretty good, really, really great jazz feeling in it. So it's going to be very, very interesting to listen to Lou Rawls from the 60s. I have a number of records with him from the 70s when he was on Philly Records, but this one is far older, so it was very, very interesting. Jackson Browne, World in Motion. Very, very a little later, Jackson Browne from 1989. Jackson Browne, always a very interesting artist to listen to. Very smooth, very and rock at the same time. Heaven 17, Pleasure 1. Little later, Heaven 17, later, quote, 1986, but it's after their big time in the new wave era. Very, very interesting. These that I'm showing now are 5 records that I bought in a special deal at in a car boot sale. 5 for $10. No, 5 for $5. Sorry. But this one was very interesting. Hammond organ jazz. Always welcome. Wild Bill Davis and Johnny Hodges. I have a couple of records by this duo since before, and they are very, very interesting to listen to. This is Memble Jazz Atlantic City. This is an RCA Victor. And we have some more jazz, but not that much jazz this time. I haven't found that much for that time. But this big band leader is kind of a favorite of mine, even though I normally prefer earlier stuff by him. Charlie Barnett, big band, and the album Manhattan. Now, German release, and it doesn't say anything of when it is released, but I get the feeling that this actually is later than the 40s anyway, maybe later than the 50s, but very, very interesting. This Charlie Barnett has really great power in his horns. Those of you who have seen my package opening lately from my Norwegian friend Kjell knows that I've gotten a whole bunch of Moody Blues lately. I have a feeling that this might wind up also soon, but I felt like I wanted to have one Moody Blues at least on vinyl, so I bought this as it was very cheap. Every good boy deserves a favor, and it is from 1971. and some records that I actually bought in the record store on record store day. Who needs record store day when you can buy this great stuff for $1 each? This is a record I've seen every now and then for $1, and I thought, why not? I give it a chance. After I have listened on YouTube first, listen to quick peeks. This is a band called Pure Love and Pleasure, and a record of Pure Love and Pleasure. They are not a band that I was very familiar with from other stuff, and it is from early 70s, I think. It doesn't say anything about when it was released, but I was a little afraid that this would be a kind of hallelujah, go happy, hippie stuff like Les Humphrey Singers or stuff like that. But it had great horns, great almost a little Blood, Sweat and Tears in Chicago's style in it. So it's going to be very, very interesting listening to it. Swedish. This is Mikael B. Tretov. And who is Mikael B. Tretov, you might ask? He is the guy who was the engineer and producer behind every album that ABBA released. And he also is a funny guy who have made a kind of comedy albums and singles, especially in the 80s. But he also have had his own career. This is Let's Boogie from 1976. And all the members of ABBA are participating here. So maybe sound doesn't sound all that much like ABBA, but you can hear some influences that it has ABBA connection to it. But it's very, very fun to have, very, very, very little oddity. This one is really great. This is Mother's Finest and Another Mother from 1978. Some tracks of these I also listened to younger on the same radio show as I heard Iceland. But then I wasn't that much into it, but I remembered the songs and listened to them again and realized that this was actually really groovy. So I found the album that their song was on. I'm talking about Mickey's Monkey and Baby Love. That was really groovy stuff. Now when I listen to the entire album, that is in a style of more funk rock style, very groovy, funky stuff with the rock style a little in it. It sounds really, really groovy, really, really funky stuff. Not a calm song anywhere in this album. So it's very, very recommended actually. Really great album. We have also Al Stewart that I also have listened to. This is a live album called Indian Summer, which is a double album set. Interesting thing about this is that it contains two records, one record with one side containing new songs that he made specifically for this album, and the other three sides. Side B on the first record and the other record are live stuff. I'm not going to say that the new stuff is bad. It's okay stuff, but it's not comparable to Year of the Cat and Time Passages, that I think is one of his absolute best. But it's okay. But the live sections are really, really good, really relaxing live stuff that he made. So this is a really, really great live album. His first live album, if I'm not wrong. And finally, some Swedish. We have a Swedish singer, Schlager singer from the 60s, even though this is recorded in 71, named Nina Lisell. Yes, you can see that is 60s. A self-titled album with some sweet 60s Schlager pop, light pop. What she's most famous for maybe is her collaboration with country singer Lee Hazelwood. They did some nice songs in the 60s. Really nice. So, first video this season on the balcony. I have a lot to listen to. So, with that, I hope that every one of you have a really nice time in the spring and the coming summer maybe also. So until next time, have a really nice time, take care, and so long.